Hello, and welcome to my granny's house unexpectedly. I'll explain soon. Hi, friends. This is Bethany Jennings, and you're listening to We Should Talk. It's a podcast where we talk about anything and everything to encourage, equip, and empower you to be a decent human. Let's talk. Okay, so I am at my granny's house. You're probably going to hear some stuff in the background, but it is what it is, per usual. I am at my granny's house. I woke up yesterday. This is part of the reason why there was no episode on Monday, and you're getting it on Tuesday this week. We had an amazing missions conference at our church called Commission. It was wild. I think we're going to end up giving over $200,000, I think, with pledges and trips and everything that's happening with our church this year. Over $200,000 to global missions. And it was a wild week. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Anyways, so we had that week and the planning and the worship portion and the. So I didn't record an episode last week. Sorry, I should have backlogged. But then again, motherhood. Anyways, so my mom, like Saturday maybe, was like, so David leaves for Australia Monday? I'm like, yeah. So right now, David is actually in an airplane somewhere over the ocean. He'll land in Australia in like an hour-ish, maybe. I don't know. And I said, yeah, he does. And she goes, man, I wish I would have realized that because we're going to Granny's on Monday. I said, oh, really? She's like, yeah. I said, well, it's fine. I'll stay home and, just have a staycation, basically, get my life in order after this event. And it'll be fine. So I need the downtime anyways. And then Sunday she was like, man, I just really wish you were going. I really wish we would have known. We would have arranged it better. I said, it's okay. I don't remember you telling me, and I didn't act on it. It's not a problem. It's not a big deal. So I'm like stupid tired Sunday night. Redonkulous tired Sunday night. I can hardly function, can hardly walk. And, no, I'm recording. Is that new, though? Is that yours?
I thought it was cute Saturday. She left it.
That's a knit. Mom just came out and showed me a shirt from a lady in our church who is absolutely amazing. My kids call her Mama. If you tell her you like something, she immediately gives it to you. She almost gave me an entire collection of oil lamps one time because I said they were pretty. Anyways, I'm her favorite daughter, but she's not my mother. It's complicated. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, so I was like stupid tired on Sunday night, ridiculous tired. And they're like, do you want to go to, oh, hold on, baby's crying. Okay, we're back, and so is baby Silas. Say hello, Silas. Hello. He's staring, but he's not speaking. Anyways, so Monday morning, my mom calls, and she's like, look, I know you looked at those tickets, and they were really high, but for some reason this morning, they're like half that price, and Dad's got plus points that he's got to use, so we can get these tickets, and I'm like, Mom, I don't know. I just don't know. Let me talk to David. And David's like, do what you want to do, babe. I'm going to be in Australia. I'm not making this decision for you. Which is really what I wanted him to do. I want him to be like, absolutely, you should go. Or be like, babe, you probably just need to stay home and relax, catch your breath. But he didn't do any of those things. He's like, I am not deciding for you. You have to make this decision. So my next option, of course, was to call my mom back, who I had just talked to on the phone, and say, Mom, what should I do? And she goes, it's your decision. And honestly, the fact that neither of them enabled me not wanting to make a decision is promising, but also frustrating. There's times like you just want people to enable you, and they did not enable me. They encouraged me to make my own decision. So, oh shoot, baby cuddling. So I thought about it, prayed about it a minute, and I said, okay, let's do it. Because, rewind to Christmas, I came up to my granny's house at Christmas. I don't even know if I talked about this on the podcast or not. I don't remember. Came to my granny's house for Christmas, but I was here literally maybe 5 hours. Not even that. The night that we got in, we drove from Texas to Kentucky. And then that next day, Onyx was sick. And I stayed in the room with Onyx, the hotel room with Onyx. And then I got sick. So everybody got sick at Christmas. Me and both my boys. And Onyx and I ended up in urgent care. I was throwing up so much. I had blood. I was spitting up blood. It was crazy. So it was a wild time. So I didn't get to be with Granny. I drove all the way here, literally like 14 hours worth of travel, and was not with my granny hardly at all. It was very sad. So I said, you know what? I didn't get to be with her, and she is precious, and she is well into her 90s. I need to go. I don't want to live with any regrets. So because I live a life of no regrets, here I am at my granny's house. Who would have thunk? Normally, like, I'm all about spontaneity when I didn't have kids. But now, my norm is not spontaneity with my kids. Not at this level anyways. So yeah, I got a phone call and was leaving my house about an hour later, headed to the airport. Me, both boys packed in a medium-sized suitcase. And Mom and Dad helped me make it happen. And here I am. So, part of my deciding factor, most of my deciding factor, was Granny is well into her 90s now. And I don't know how long I will have her with me. Which, of course, made me think, oh my goodness, my granny's almost 100. This is wild. What a blessing to live almost an entire century. Which reminded me about this research that I heard about and dug into a little bit on centenarians. So a centenarian is a person who has lived at least 100 years. And obviously there are not many of them. Bible days, everybody was walking around being a centenarian, but not so much these days. I don't know if it's the preservatives or I don't know, but we're not centenarians very often here. However, there are pockets of the world where there are an unusually high amount of centenarians. And they call them blue zones, not because of anything special, like their hair is so white that it's blue, but because when they were tracking this based on population and census and all that stuff, when they were tracking this, they used a blue pen. And they noticed with the blue pen, they were making big zones of blue, and so they called them blue zones. So there are blue zones in different parts of the world. And but there's one of them is Okinawa, Japan. One of them is a little village in Italy. One of them is a spot in, I can't remember all of them. Anyways, like there's just pockets of them. If I think of them, I'll tell you. But they noticed doing all of this research, they noticed, let me look it up real quick because I want to tell you guys. They noticed some commonalities in these blue zones. And so they wanted to know, what is it that makes these people live 100 years? Okay, here we go. Loma Linda, California, I guess that's how you say that, is one of them. Nicoya Peninsula, Costa Rica is another one. Sardinia, that was it. Sardinia, Italy. Ikaria, Greece. And Okinawa, Japan. So they noticed, that's where they were. So they noticed some commonalities in these places. Number one was that most of their eating habits were not quote unquote healthy in the sense that we think of healthy and like, oh, all they ate was vegetables and fruit and meat. No, that wasn't it at all, actually. Like, especially in Sardinia, like they ate bread and pasta every single day. Greece, they were eating pasta nearly every single day. But it was what was in the food they were eating, right? So it wasn't just that they were eating like fruits, vegetables, meat, like we're told to, like don't eat carbs, they're the devil. But it was what was in the food, like how it was made. For example, in Sardinia, Italy, where they have pasta and they have bread nearly every single day, it is made in the home from locally sourced items. Like if you want to get something out of that area, you have to like make a big effort to get it. So most of their stuff is locally grown, locally sourced, and made fresh daily. There are no preservatives. That pasta, they make it fresh every day. They have bread all the time, but what they use to make the bread actually eats away the sugar from any pasta in their gut. Isn't that crazy? So things like that. Another thing was movement. There was always some form of exercise or movement throughout their entire life. So some of these locations were on like a hillside or a mountainside. And so they were walking, constantly walking nonstop. There was movement. There are no cars in their community. So they are walking, and it's always uphill, downhill, or some form of movement. In Okinawa, Japan, there was constant squatting. Like they were constantly squatting down to take care of the gardens that they were using to source their food from. And because they squatted so much and they were standing and kneeling and bending and moving, and they did stretches every morning and, some form of yoga or something, they had an incredible center of gravity. So they didn't fall as often. So they lived longer. I mean, because we've all seen it. An elderly person falls and it's just like they cannot recoup, they cannot recover. And that's like the beginning of their end. But it was specifically Okinawa, there was such a great movement and kneeling and stretching that their center of gravity was ridiculous. So the food, the movement, and the other thing that they noticed was most of them, not all of them, but most of them avoided smoking of any type and drinking, except Italy drank, but again, it was from a locally sourced vineyard. The wine was from a local vineyard. So, yeah. So food, what they ate and what was in what they ate, their movement, it wasn't anything crazy like they were going to the gym every day. It was just daily consistent movement. And then actually taking care of their bodies in obvious ways, like not smoking, not drinking. It just wasn't their culture. Not drinking crazy things. And the other thing, which I thought was extremely interesting, was that none of these communities. Oh, honey, here. You want you, Pappy? I'm sorry. Were you not done with your nap? Oh no, I don't think you are. He's fading, friends. He's fading. That's all right. Let go. Let go and let God. Okay, the main fact that I thought was ridiculously interesting was once these elders got to a certain age, they were not put in any professional care facility, and no professional caretakers came to them. They were always taken care of by family or living with family. Always. They did not push their elders to abandon their homes. They did not push their elders to go to a professional care facility. And I'm not dogging anybody who has had to do that. Sometimes they need professional care that we cannot provide them. I'm not dogging anybody. But I just found it so interesting that they were constantly around family. And a lot of these families, because they were so family oriented, would have extremely young members of the family in the same home as the extremely old members of the family. So we're talking like 4 generations in and out of one home. They may not all live in that one location, but they saw each other daily. And it kept so much life and spark in these elders, and they lived to 100 and beyond. How crazy is that? And they lived a very happy and full life. It wasn't like they starved themselves or were at a gym every day or denied themselves pleasures or any of those things. But there was always some form of social interaction. They had like, one place had like a lot of community stuff where the elders got together and played games with multiple generations. So there's lots of social interaction, lots of familial responsibility for the elders. They didn't deprive themselves of good food, but they ate good quality food. I think that's where we trip up. It's like, well, we have to eat meat and vegetables and fruits, and even those are not that healthy if they're not from a good source. So I thought that was extremely interesting, and I could be wrong in that this could be a guide to life, but it seems to be working for these blue zones. So natural movement, nothing crazy. Good food. Taking care of your body in obvious ways, like not smoking and drinking and abusing it. And giving them some sense of purpose and them contributing to a community of citizens or family members. Anyways, I think it was super cool. So, my granny is almost 100. She's working on it. I pray she makes it all the way to 100. I think it's such a blessing to have these elders, and I want to. Oh,
Well, come on.
oh, Mom's helping. See, Granny's still living in her home, and family takes care of her. That's part of it. I'm telling you, that's part of it. All right, I'm gonna go. My baby's crying, and I need to go help Granny. I love you guys. And I'm so happy to be at my granny's house. Bye. Well, that was fun. I'm glad you stuck around for the whole thing. And thank you for talking to me today. Y'all go like and follow and review and do all the podcast things that people do. And don't forget to be a good human.